Good morning and welcome to the Sunday celebrations here for the Centers of Spiritual Living Denver. We are a loving and prospering community here in the heart of Capitol Hill and online. We know that with everything going on, life can feel overwhelming. Here at CSL Denver, we want you to know that we are here for you. Please know that our practitioners are available for prayer work with you. Our names and phone numbers are on the website at www.cslddenver.org. Or if you have a prayer request, please email it to info@cslddenver.org. Reverend Elzia, along with all of our guest speakers, all of our practitioners, our music and service coordinators want you to know how truly grateful we are for your online support. Thank you for watching our Sunday services, attending our online workshops and events, and providing financial support so that we can keep our virtual doors open. We love you all and know we'll be seeing you in person in the right and perfect time. And now, we'll continue to meet online until further notice. If you're interested in upcoming events and information, we send out weekly newsletters. Please go to www.cslddenver.org and sign up for our newsletters. We only send out one per week. Or send an email to info@cslddenver.org and request to be put on our mailing list. This week we are having our usual Zoom fellowship right after service. If you haven't already received an email this morning, please send an email to info@cslddenver.org to request a Zoom invitation. Please join us. We would love to say hi and catch up with you. That's it for the announcements this Sunday. Again, thank you for tuning in, and now back to our service.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning. I'm Tim Hancock, practitioner here at Center for Spiritual Living Denver, and I'd like to welcome you all to this virtual service this morning. I invite you to close your eyes for the invocation. And surely the presence of God is in this place. We recognize the divine presence in, through, and around all of its creation, in, through, and around all of its love, all of its joy. And as we move into this service, we know that we are truly blessed. We bless the words of our music. We bless the words of our reading today. We bless the words of Reverend Mark, as well as all of the support from Reverend Elzia Diego with our production, and Alice with our background. And as we move into this service, we know that all are blessed, that are experiencing the divine, whether it's in a church, a mosque, a synagogue, at home, virtually, or just simply out in nature. As we become conscious of the one presence in, through, and around all of us, we know we are at peace. We know we are love. We know we are joy. And I am absolutely grateful for all that is this morning. And so it is. And now for our readings this morning. This is from Albert Camus. He said, "In the midst of hate, I found there was within me an invincible love. In the midst of tears, I found there was within me an invincible smile. In the midst of chaos, I found there was within me an invincible calm. I realized through it all, and that in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. And that makes me happy. For it says that no matter how hard the world pushes against me, within me there is something stronger, something better, pushing right back." And from our founder, Ernest Holmes, we are all in the process of spiritual evolution, but there is certainty behind us, certainty before us, and certainty with us at every moment. The eternal light will break through to whatever we permit it. Potentially everything that is to be exists now. But our spiritual vision has not yet become completely in tune with the infinite. And this is the high task set before us. This is the deathless hope implanted in our mind by the divine. And so it is. And now let's bring in Susan Clark singing a Janice Stanfield song, "Trust the Mystery."
mistake. We said our prayers, we've done our best, so what's it gonna take? There are questions we can't answer, reasons we can't see, rewards around the tears, the courage and the fear. We learn to trust the mystery, trust the mystery. Life will be what it will be. Trust the mystery. Set your mind and spirit free. Trust the mystery. Be who you were born to be. Trust the mystery. The only choice that I can see. Trust the mystery. There are questions we can't answer, reasons we can't see. It was around the tears, the courage and the fear. You learn to trust the mystery, trust the mystery. Life will be what it will be. Trust the mystery. Set your mind and spirit free. Trust the mystery. Be who you were born to be. Trust the mystery. The only choice that I can see. Trust the mystery, trust the mystery, trust the mystery, trust the mystery.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be back with you. And we are trusting the mystery that we've resolved the issues that were on Facebook a few moments ago. I understand some of you might not have seen all of that music video, but it is all working out and right in divine order. And we are here with you today with a talk that's entitled Exploring the Mystery. And what I want to do for the next few minutes is explore the mystery of life with you in a unique and different way. This is all part of a month-long theme here at Center for Spiritual Living Denver, where we're looking at living every day as a spiritual practice. An important concept, because so much of our day we spend immersed in the world of form, immersed in the world of physical effects, and sometimes it can be so mesmerizing that we don't take time to step back and realize that that's not all of life and that's not all of who we are. And so all of the practices that we've been encouraging you to take on is to meld into your everyday existence additional spiritual practices. You may sit on that meditation cushion early in the morning for a few minutes, but we're inviting you to look at the rest of your day and work in ways in which you can see your whole life as being a spiritual practice. Today, we're discussing the idea of exploring the mystery. And what I want to do is to basically set the stage that where we're going is for us to look at our everyday life as a mystery that is full of wonder and awe, and that we can stop and take time every day to explore those mysteries and see what gleanings we can get from them. What do they have to offer us and teach us in our lives that can deepen us on our spiritual path? But I want to get there probably in a little bit of a circuitous route this morning. And so bear with me, because the first thing I want to do is share with you a dream I had a few nights ago. I woke up after having this dream, and I thought, I need to remember this one. Essentially, and I'm not going to go into all the details. My wife, who was trained in contemplative psychology, would want to zero in on every one of the details in the dream and analyze them, and she's very good at it. But I want to give you just sort of the high-level theme of the dream, which was I was walking along with a group of about 10 or 12 people, and we were in a downtown area, and we were working towards a hotel complex or a convention complex where there was a meeting room, and we were going to go into a training. And so as we're walking along together, I had this recollection that where we were, that there was a nearby campground nestled in the middle of the downtown area, and that not a lot of people knew about it. So I suggested to my companions that we, after the meeting was over, maybe we should spend the night at this campground. And so they all thought it was a wonderful idea. And then we're walking along the sidewalk, and we get to where the training is, and we're waiting to get into the room. And it's our group, and there's other groups that are waiting. And we see this other individual and his entourage, and we recognize him because he's a very powerful person. I don't know who he is in the form, but he was a very powerful and judgmental person as well. And one of the members in our group said, I think you should tell him about the campground. He'd probably love that. So I am just going on and describing the campground to this other guy. And he says, this is wonderful. And he's all excited. And I can feel myself, filling up with emotion about the fact that I've pleased this judgmental person. And then I wake up. And in that half awake, half asleep aspect of it, I realized, oh, that was just a dream. I was just dreaming this whole scenario. But in that half awake, half asleep state, I realized that the campground was real. That I really knew the campground. I knew where it was, and I had been there before, and it was just it was a wonderful place that not too many people knew about. And then I fell back asleep, and then later I woke up again, and I woke up and I remembered the prior dream, and I remembered the state of feeling that the campground was real. But now, when I really woke up, I realized the campground really wasn't real. There was no campground like that, at least in the form of physical everyday life. And I wondered about that state of feeling. Why did I feel like it was real when I half woke up? It's interesting. I've had dreams like that all through my life of times that you have a dream where you feel like you wake up and parts of it are real. There's one recurring dream that I have where I am going to a house in multi-levels that's on a sloping hill, so that you can enter it from anywhere from a ground level because it's on the hill. But the higher level floors are more finished than the lower level floors, which seem to have been used at one time, but they're not in any kind of current state that you'd want to stay in them. It's funny, that dream just comes up periodically over and over, but every time I have it, I have that feeling that that house is real, that there is something in physical reality about that house. It's interesting how these dreams point to the sense of mystery that we live in. Some of the dreams that have been the most interesting to me, and I've had maybe 4 of these dreams, are something that I would consider lucid dreams. The difference between a regular dream and a lucid dream to me is that in a regular dream, you feel like you're traveling along in a movie, that the events are happening, but you're just sort of along for the ride. The story is unfolding right there in front of you, and you're watching it as it experiences in your dream. Whereas a lucid dream has this unique characteristic that, 1, you recognize you're dreaming, and 2, you have ability to control the actions in the dream. Now, I'd read about these before and thought these were kind of exciting, but the first time I had one, I really was aware of the fact that I was in this dream. And somebody had told me at one time that if you feel like you're in a lucid dream, look down at your hands and see if you can actually make the movement of looking at your hands and actually physically move your hands. And so I did that in the dream, and it worked. And I thought, wow, this is so cool. This is the most wonderful experience that I could have. And I said, I wonder if this wall that is next to me, what would happen if I put my head through that wall? So in the dream, I did that. I consciously stuck my head through the wall. And as I moved through this wall, because I was like in a hallway area, as I put my head through the wall, I opened up into this space where the universe just expanded. I was like out in space, and you could see all the stars and the galaxies and everything flying by. And you had the sense of being, in one with the universe, and that the wall was keeping me from experiencing the vast oneness of life. And all I needed to do was to put my head through that wall. And there was the answer to the mystery. I've had several lucid dreams like that through the years, and whenever I have them, they are so exciting and moving. And I've read books about trying to, foster that experience of a lucid dream, and not with a lot of success. But I've had a number of them now that I know that they really are pointing me to something greater and grander. It's interesting. You said, why is he talking about all these dreams? I thought we were going to talk about the mystery. Well, there's a lot of things in this that I think that are really pointing at the mystery. One of them is, why do we dream? What is that feeling of, and we all have that experience of dreams and then wake up and think that was a dream. Some of us probably have those experiences of dreams where we felt like, well, yeah, most of it was a dream, but this part over here was real. Can you relate to that? And probably some of us have all had this lucid dream experience, which to me is also sort of pointing at the experience that we're having here in physical form, where we are, and as I often say in my talks with you, we are spiritual beings having a material world existence. We have one foot in the material world and one foot in the spiritual world. And so sometimes when we're in the dream-like state of going along like it's a movie, that's much like our everyday experience in the material world. But sometimes we wake up and we realize that we have control, that we can stick our head through the wall or look down at our hands, that we have conscious choice. And when we are awake to that degree, we start shifting into that, addressing the great mystery of life and looking at the questions of life and seeing how we can take control of our own life and answer it. I've recently been reading a lot about a book that was published in 1908, written under the name Three Initiates, but it was really by a New Thought author by the name of William Walker Atkinson. It was called The Kabbalion. Many of you have probably heard of this book. And I've done a whole series of blogs recently on my Conscious Bridge website, which tie the Kabbalion to the science of mind. And there's a lot of connection between the two. I invite you to go look at the blogs. But the point I really wanted to make from this is that the Kabbalion speaks to the fact that everything is a polarity, and that our experience of this material world and our experience of the spiritual world is not an either or kind of thing. It is a sliding scale where every day we're moving back and forth along that scale, where we have more experiences in the physical realm, and then some days we're having more experiences in the spiritual realm, and that we slide each day. And part of our encouragement of the spiritual practices this month is really to move us up that scale to where we're more in the movement of feeling into the essence of oneness and feeling into spirit. This book, the Kabbalion, and this principle of polarity, and this fact that we spend part of our time in what's called the relative realm of humanity and the physical world, or we're in the absolute realm of spirit, that we slide along and move between the two poles. The idea is to find that place where it's proper for us, where we're exploring the mystery of the absolute realm while still staying anchored in the realm of form to navigate through this lifetime. But reading this book, and it was Atkinson's writing of the book was inspired by the Hermetic teachings of the ancient Egyptians, which is often written under Hermes or Hermes Trismegistus. And all of this exploration of the book by Atkinson led me into reading some other books about Hermes and the ancient traditions and the spiritual traditions that led to the concepts that were presented in the Kabbalion. And this led me to reading a book by Gary Lockman. Now, like Gary Lockman, I did an interview for him a number of years ago for the Science of Mind magazine, which never got published, by the way, but I used the interview on my website. And it's an interesting interview because he's written a lot of books on metaphysical topics. And in this particular book, he's writing about the Egyptian Hermetic teachings and how they came about. And he's also stressing some of the concepts that were taught by the Hermetics regarding the fact that we needed to create a balance between the polarity of the absolute and the relative, between spirit and the material. If we're living in the physical world with one foot there and one foot in the spiritual world, how do we weight our weights on our feet so that we're living with an appropriate mixture? One of the things that the Egyptians realized, and that Lockman writes about in his book about Hermes, is that they realized that if we go too much to one extreme or the other, there are some potential problems with it. If we try to move too much into the world of spirit, into the absolute realm of God, and many monks do this, spending all of their days in meditation, that the weaknesses in that is that we often fail to honor and take care of our individual physical needs, that we often become aesthetic, or we lose our ability to be creative and creating things in the material realm that can maybe make our life and better. A lot of this has been seen by people who wrote about the fact that The Eastern traditions, which were often more meditative and contemplative in their approach, had less in terms of scientific findings than the Western style, which had a lot of scientific findings, but oftentimes did it at the expense of actually looking at their spiritual nature and became overly materialistic. And so what we see now is a bringing together of the Eastern and Western traditions, bringing us towards that healthy middle balance where we're both taking care of ourselves in the physical realm and also taking care of our spiritual essence. And for each of us, our call in all of these weeks where we're talking about spiritual practices is looking to bring that proper call about that will find the right balance for you and for us. Now, one of the things that Lockman points out in his book is he references back to a number of philosophers and scientists who have said that there's also some issues with spending too much time in the physical realm, too much time in the material, and not addressing the spiritual realm. And that one of the things I really liked in this book was he talks about Aldous Huxley and the Doors of Perception book that he wrote back in the 20th century, and where he and other people have made this statement too, is that in the physical realm, our brains, our physical brains, are not so much an object that is bringing about and creating consciousness, but instead our brains are what are called a limiting valve, that this vastness of the universe that I experienced when I stuck my head through the wall in my lucid dream, that there is this vastness of oneness that if we were continuously in that state of knowing everything that was at every time in all places, it would be overwhelming to us to live in that state continuously. And so our physical brains, as Huxley and others have pointed out, serve as a reducing valve. They take the vastness and the complexity of the oneness of the universe as it's presented to us and dumb it down. They take it to a lower level and only present through our senses that which is needed for us to experience and to grow and evolve through this physical life. Of course, there is a downside to that reducing valve, that natural tendency of our brains to dumb down the universe into a sense of us only feeling and knowing limited sensory input. And that is, if we live too much in that, then we have the downside being boredom and meaninglessness. Lockman writes it this way in his book. He says, although the brain's reducing valve works very well in helping us stay alive on the surface of this particular planet, it also produces some unhelpful side effects. One is the curious narrowing of consciousness that we call boredom and its accompanying sense of meaninglessness. I don't know how many people I've talked to have get into that state of being bored with life, or they're feeling like life has no meaning. I know that I talk to a lot of atheists and agnostics, and sometimes they turn away from the religions of their youth because they don't address their specific needs, but they have nothing else to fill that void. And when they look at the world simply through the eyes of materialistic life, and seeing only matter and physical stuff as being the true reality, after a while it becomes a sort of a nihilistic type of thinking where you get bored with this existence and you also feel there's no meaning to it. Well, it brings us back to the fact that the more we can shift our focus into the mystery of life, into experiencing the mystery, the more we can seek that healthy balance that the Egyptians and the Hermetics and the Kabbalion write of, the more that we can find that healthy balance between living in the physical and living in the spiritual, the more that we will navigate this physical life with success, but also have that taste of the mystery, that taste that understands the vastness of the universe and the gifts that it has for us. So my call for you today is to remember that you're living on a sliding scale between the absolute and the relative, and that you're finding that healthy balance between oneness and life only being the world of separation and form. How do you find that middle ground? I suspect for most of us, it's a matter of looking at and recognizing the mystery that we're in. Looking at the mystery. What is this mystery? It's when I stuck my head through the wall and saw the vastness. It's when I walk around in life and I ask myself questions about what is this and what is that, and why am I really here? We've all reflected at some point or another about the fact that we are these individual beings knocking around with this thing called consciousness that seems to be located in our head. And when we stop and think about that, is a vast mystery. When we think about why am I here, or why am I the person I am, or why was I born into the circumstances that I was, why do I look out at the world and I see it exploring and evolving into the nature that it currently is? A lot of times we sort of ask why. And when we stop and do that, we're really delving into the mystery. We're sticking our head through the wall and trying to ask the deeper questions that gets behind the essence of what's going on. So I'm inviting you this week, as a part of your spiritual practices, to begin to stick your head through the wall and start asking questions about the mystery. Make that a part of your everyday nature. Look at life with the question of seeing it as a grand, glorious place filled with awe and wonder and questions that you are desired to ponder. I'd like to give you 3 quick tips on how you can go about melding more of a sense of wonder and awe and exploring the mystery into your individual life. And the first tip is to have a daily practice of meditation. I know that most of us do that, but I would encourage you to get into it and ensure that you have that. We spend so much of our time every day immersed in the world of form and physical effects, and it is so mesmerizing and hypnotic that we tend to forget that we're more than this stuff and our relationship to it. And so the time we spent in meditation every morning is a time to delve into and tap into the oneness, a time to stick our head through the wall and experience and taste the mystery of the divine. So every day, meditate. Find a few minutes every day to do that. The second tip is to stop at least once a day, and I'd encourage you to do this more than once every day, and have a contemplation break. Take some time for contemplative thought. Now that can look in a couple of forms. In one form, it looks like it's this to me. It's basically a mini meditation. I can go within in the moment and just say, okay, in this moment, I recognize that I am only, I'm a part of the oneness. I'm part of the divine. I feel the divine flow moving through me. I anchor myself back into that flow. A short affirmative prayer can assist in that process as well. But you anchor yourself, take a contemplative moment, anchor yourself in to that sense of being in the flow of the divine. You can also have this type of experience, and it's one that I like, is to stop in the moment and just assess my surroundings, to look around myself and say, why is that wall there? Or why am I here? Or how does this computer and this internet work? Or how is wonderful it is that we have the ability to communicate over this mechanism? Why is it that these things are around me? Why is it that I have this consciousness that seems to be anchored within my head? But I know that it expands beyond that. Stopping to reflect every moment and ask some why questions fills you with a sense of wonder about what's going on. Instead of just saying, oh, this is just this everyday stuff that's going on, to realize this everyday stuff is filled with magical questions that we can just be overwhelmed with if we stop and contemplate it. So that's the second tip, is to take contemplative breaks each day. My third and final tip for you today is to take some time every day and reflect upon the moments that created awe and wonder for you that day. I know that many of us in the science of mind, we've gotten into the practice, and we talk about the sense of building a sense of greater gratitude in your life. And many of us, and my wife and I included, will every night sit down and go, what was the highlight of your day? What were you grateful for today? What filled your heart with gratitude today? But one of the things I've been building into that more lately is, what filled my heart with awe and wonder today? Where did I explore the mystery today? Where was there something that I experienced that it reminded me of the vastness of this universe in which I live and move and have my being? Was it something I read, an experience I had with another person, the love I felt when I looked at and played with my dog, the moment that my wife came home from work and we embraced? There were moments that were just filled with awe. What was that moment for you this day? We know the more that we look at something, the more we see that something. So the more that we can build some time into our daily spiritual practices to note the awe and wonder we had that day, the more we are going to be living and tasting and exploring the mystery of life. So I invite you along that journey with me to find that healthy balance on the sliding scale between the relative and the absolute, between living in the physical and living in the spiritual. Yes, we get immersed in the world of the physical, and let's move and build practices that allow us to move and more into the state of the absolute. The more to stick our head through the wall and see the vastness of the universe, the more that we can experience this mystery in which we're immersed every day. Join me on that journey, won't you? Let's pray. We simply know that there is only one life, one God, one divine essence that moves in and through everything and gives everything its very existence. I know this truth for myself and for every person listening to these words, that we are filled with the feeling of this mystery that we are immersed. We know and recognize the gift of our lives, the very fact that we are these spiritual beings having this material experience. We recognize what a wonderful gift this is, and that we navigate this gift with awe and wonder. We look and see and bless the mystery in which we are living each day. We take time of our day to experience and to celebrate the oneness of our lives. I know that everything for everyone here is working out in right and divine order for your lives. I know that you're filled with prosperity, love, abundance, friends, family, the blessings of this bountiful life in which we live, and that you are moving and growing and evolving to the highest potential of who you can be as this spiritual being. And so for all of this and so much more, including all religions, all faiths, and especially Centers for Spiritual Living, New Thought, Center for Spiritual Living, Denver, I just bless all of these faiths and traditions, knowing that everyone in their own way is exploring that divine mystery and are open to growing and being themselves. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Mark. Beautiful talk. Always enjoy your talks. And now it is time for our offertory. And we are grateful and blessed for everyone's support of CSL Denver, whether it's in time, treasure, or talent, and especially this time of change. Whether this is your first time joining us, or if you're a returning community participant, we want to thank you for your continued financial support of the important work we're striving to provide. Right now, there are several ways that you can make your financial contribution to the Center for Spiritual Living Denver. The information is running at the bottom of the screen. If you haven't already done it and you shop King Soopers and or Amazon Smile, you can link your account to the Centers for Spiritual Living Denver, and our center will receive a percentage of all proceeds. Email us if you'd like more information on this option. Now, please repeat with me our usual affirmation. This perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all that it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. And now we would like you to join us for our usual virtual fellowship on Zoom this morning. Let us know how you're doing. If you did not receive the Zoom invitation earlier this morning, send an email to info@csldenver.org and mention fellowship, and we'll send you a Zoom invitation right away. The second of two classes that Reverend LZ is facilitating, the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of Science of the Mind, practical application for using Science of the Mind principles, is tomorrow evening, Monday the 24th, at 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. It's not too late to join. We had a very, very informative and lively class last week. And I encourage you, if you did miss it, to please join us this week, because it's going to be just as informative and just as lively. This class will be via Zoom, so you can send an email to info@csldenver.org to request the invitation. Also, we have a book club starting in February. The book we're going to start with is Becoming Supernatural, How Common People Are Doing the Uncommon by Joe Dispenza. The book club will meet the second and the fourth Thursday of each month from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So for February, mark your calendars for February 10th and the 24th. And the book club will be via Zoom, so you can also get that invitation to send an email at info@csldenver.org to request the invitation and if you'd like more information about it. If you have the book, please read the first 2 chapters before February 10th. That will be discussed. In the meantime, we hope you have a wonderful week. And we affirm right here and right now that 2022 is blessed and perfect in all that it is. We love you and miss you. Please take care of yourself. And now we close out with I release and I let go.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. You gotta let it all
next time